I guess it's like, like the general consensus is that, like old generation parents, they're very stubborn and they're afraid of change. And then they're too like, what's going on? What is this? Oh, is it gonna blow it on my face? It's like, calm down, calm down.
Bro, for real.
It's funny when I see my parents and like, how do you switch channels to me seeing Netflix? She's like, there's a button that says input and you just press it right there. Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's that easy. God.
I don't know. It's hilarious. Like, it gives it that wow factor. It's like, oh my God, you're a genius. It's like, no. I just
understand the simple shit.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, man. Like, how's it going? Like, how's your day been treating you so far?
I slept most of the day. I literally woke up like 3:40 or something because I set an alarm for this. So
yeah. at least you're like energized. I said that you shave yourself.
Huh?
You shave yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look clean cut, man. Like a baby's butt.
Yeah, it was itchy as fuck. It was so bad. And I took a shower this morning and I just forgot to do it. I was just like, and then I woke up and I was like, this is just annoying. Yeah, I look like a totally different person.
Yeah,
it's funny as fuck.
Do you like having the beard stuff, or you find it that it's annoying?
Not anymore. Not it. I mean, I had it to a certain length at one point, and then I would just use an electric razor and shave it. That was when I lived with my sister. And then I did that just because it was easier, but then the ingrown hairs started getting hella annoying. And then I just after a few months, I was like, fuck it, and then just started doing it again. I don't know. It gets annoying sometimes, especially with how much I've been traveling. If I don't shower that night or something, I wake up the next morning, it's hella itchy from whatever I did. So it's kind of annoying.
Nah, but I mean, I get you. I never liked the whole beard concept. I was always a goatee person, and it was just recently that my fiance was like, just give it a try, and now I'm with it. It's like, all right,
it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's just a lot of maintenance and then a lot of trimming, which
I deal with that. I already cut all my hair off. I don't need to have facial hair too. When I had long hair and that was good enough. It was pain in the ass enough. So now I shaved everything off, and not everything, but I just keep it done short and it's easier.
I'm just too lazy, man. This is
to be real.
When it comes to my body hair, I'm too lazy. I'm just like, damn, it's long, but man, I don't want it. It's just a pain for me.
Yeah, no, dude, I fucking I find body hair hella annoying. I try and get rid of a bunch of as much man. It's so fucked up. I hate it. It makes me so itchy.
I hate it. I hate the most the Mexican mustache that I get.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I think mine's still there too. Even though it
has a little shadow on it. I fucking hate it with my guts. Always had because out of when I was growing up, that was literally the first thing that started to grow, my mustache.
Oh yeah, okay.
So imagine me on my 8th grade hitting my puberty, and and you have a little Mexican mustache, and you're trying to find out what the fuck is this? Well, how would I do this? And everybody's like, "Hi, you're Mexican now."
Well, maybe.
It's well, maybe. Well, I was like, well, we're all Puerto Rican, so I guess we all speak Spanish. So I guess we got something in common. Fuck?
You get so particular down there. That's what I started to realize. That's why I'm just people ask me, I'm just I'm Hispanic of some sort. I don't even know the exact origin. I just don't even care. I just know that I'm Hispanic. Just take it. But then my entire dad's side is they're full blown Mexican, and I look the way I do. I'm just
hey, don't knock it down. I've met a lot of people who are as white as you, and they're 100% Mexican.
Damn. Okay. Now I feel better because I'm only 50, so it makes me feel a little bit better about the situation.
No, I kid you not, bro. And that's something that many people are very misconstrued. That people do assume that there's no white people in other countries. It's
oh no, it totally is.
It's where the hell did you get this notion? You think that America is the only place in the world where there's only white people? No, fuck.
No, not even close.
Bro, there's white people in Mexico. There's white people in Canada and Europe, Puerto Ricans,
Europe, Australia, everywhere.
Cuba, our South America. There's white people are everywhere. It just so happened that yes, that their skin color is white, but their race itself is whatever the country is. You know, like
Yeah.
a white boy from Spain, he's Spaniard, but his skin color is still white. As well as in Puerto Rico or anywhere else. As well as we got also black people from every other country. So like it's not exclusively in America. It's like, yeah, home of the white people. It's like, no,
Not
no.
even close.
Jesus. It's just as funny that people assume it's like, oh my god, you're Mexican? Oh my god, you're Puerto Rican? But your skin color is like, yeah, I know I'm white.
Just like leave me alone. I didn't get the dark color gene. I don't know. There's no melanin in my skin. Who cares?
Oh man. But you say so your family has that Mexican heritage and your mom's side is what, American?
Yeah. No, my mom's side is like, I mean, yeah, like American, I guess, but her great grandparents were from France.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm French. Like they came here first, I think, with my grandfather or something. My grandfather was raised in Louisiana. Like, yeah, so I'm Creole as shit. And like people think it's funny as fuck. Yeah, because you can't see it. You could see it if I had like longer hair. I have hella fucking curly hair. But like the Southern cooking, Southern ways and shit like that, that's the shit I was raised on from my mom's side. So like, you know, it's so funny because people talk to me and they're just like, you're not cultured or this, that, and the other. I'm like, boy, do you even fucking know? Like this, I grew up on like seafood gumbo and crawfish too. And then just as far as the other side was like rice and beans and fucking tamales and shit. Like it's funny because that's like so drastically different, but
Dude,
fuck it.
Dude, that's like two different worlds, and then there's you. That's where you are. The two different worlds.
Yeah, I don't make sense out of all of that. out of where everybody came from out of that shit. I'm the only one that doesn't make sense. Like my grandfather was a contractor. My bunch of people, like my uncles and shit, similar to what they did. And then on the other side, like they didn't really do like my godfather was like in the Navy at some point, then he like owned his own bar. Like they did like random stuff. I mean, I guess like someone on my mom's side, so my cousin Kevin actually was like I think he was like the number one percussionist in the world or something, or number two percussionist in the world.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He did like percussion for like American Idol when they used to have like the live band. Like he did it every year. He did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno every episode for a long time. I think he still is actually. He's been on tour with like a fuck ton of people. Like he played for Michael Jackson, Neil Diamond, a bunch of people. Yeah, and he's still doing stuff too. And I actually need to talk to him. I haven't talked to Kevin in years. Because the last time I talked to him, he was like, well, if you have anything, like whenever you're ready, like I told him I was writing music and going to music school and stuff. And he asked like what I was using. And then he started this was when, because he's old school, he was doing the transition of like Complete into using MIDI and stuff like that. And so now I could actually probably go work with him and it would make sense. So that's someone I should probably actually call. He's really well connected. He knows a lot of people and like he's hella talented. So like now actually I kind of want to see like what I could get out of his stuff. And just go to a studio with him for like a day. I know he's got one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that a day in a studio with your uncle, right?
Oh, that's my cousin. Yeah.
Your cousin.
He's older. Yeah, he's my cousin.
A day with your cousin in the studio, bro, is like, yeah, bro, that's a lifetime opportunity, you know. And it's so cool that your cousin has done such a huge, you know.
He's the only one that made it too. Like music wasn't really in my family in like either sort of direction.
I was actually gonna ask you that.
Yeah, no, and like he's the only one that actually did something. Like my other cousin Derek was like in bands and stuff, but nothing ever really worked out. And so, you know, now here I am like doing this. It's really odd. I always did weird shit, so it kind of fits.
Yeah, of course, man. You know what's funny is that, when you ever have that opportunity to go to your cousin and see, like, let's say one day at the studio, it's funny that when those opportunity does come up for oneself, that's when everything else comes into place, you know, because that's all it takes. It's just that one visit at that one time, and Ben, like, you got this, bro. And This is something that has happened to not only to me but my homies. You know, my one of my homies, Shindo. Shout out to him. He's from South Florida as well, and he landed
Mhm.
to be the main producer for Justin Bieber's Peaches song.
Oh, nice.
And it was
Wow.
all by coincidence, all because he was working with Pooh Bear. Well, he still does. And that's
Yeah.
but that was all because he was at the right place at the right time.
Right. Yeah.
And he just clicked with Pooh Bear, and Pooh Bear, like, you know, took him by his wing, and he was just making songs, and he was just like tired, and he like wanna stepped out for a moment. He was scrolling from Instagram, and then he saw Justin Bieber playing the piano for Peaches when he was just playing the piano. And he
Yeah.
saw that. So he screen recorded the story, and he put it on Ableton, and then he just added the drums out of it. And then he just sent it to Boo Bear. Just, you know, hey, you think that, you know, Bieber will like something like this or not? You know, what do you think? I just want some feedback. Like, I just did this on my dude. Immediately, Pooh Bear sent it over to Bieber's people, and Bieber heard it. Bieber say, like, I want it.
No, it's crazy how shit works like that too. Like, it's usually unexpected or something like that. Like, it's funny because he just told me, he was like, you let me know. So it's just, he told me that years ago too. And I told him, I was like, I'll call you eventually, just not anytime soon. Cause he talked to me when I was just coming out of music school. I didn't understand shit. Okay. And, you know, okay, I went to going to music school, like I learned, but like I didn't know how to formulate my own ideas in the ways that I hear them. And now, like, I kind of understand why it takes so many years to learn music production or even something that sticks, because it's like some of these kids will have like songs that pop off in one way that just happens to be the time, and that's the music that they're kind of stuck with making because they feel like they have to make that. And then like, and you most of the time they don't even know how they did it. So it's trying to recreate something that was like by happenstance, and then they kind of figure it out, but not really. And like, I'd rather not have that happen. So I think that's kind of also why I took the time to really kind of figure out what to do instead and learn how to actually craft it.
And you do feel ready for it? Like, if you say yourself, let's just say that your cousin calls you right now and say, hey, can you swing over right now? Would you be feeling comfortable to say like, all right, cool, I got this?
Yeah, at the time, music production, different thought processes and ideas used to kind of like intimidate me because I didn't understand what to do or how to even approach them. You know, I still can't play piano, but I understand music theory. And being able to understand music theory, you don't need to understand all of it. You just need to understand enough to get away with it. And like, you know, I still have to look up stuff that to stay in key or whatever, but it doesn't stop or prevent your creativity from being able to make something the way you hear it. It's just finding the note that it actually is that you hear. That's all it really comes down to. I would totally do it though, because I'm not scared to sit and produce with people anymore. I don't give a shit who you are. You know, you want to make music, it's make fucking music. Just have something to put on the table and provide. And then that's how you have to be able to work with someone. And that's what I started realizing too. And that's as of late, like working with a lot of my friends instead of just working by myself. Since I have a problem with formulating ideas a lot of the time from scratch, but if you give me something, I can make something. So, you know, at least a cohesive something. A homie of mine sent me some rhythm stuff the other day that I'm still having trouble with making because it's too bare bones. It's not really an idea. It was more just like a few synth channels. And so it's like kind of just starting from scratch. But you know, aside from that, most everyone else will send me like, you know, at least 8 bars of something that's whole or like 16. And I make the whole song off of that. And it's been a lot easier. I mean, obviously someone's doing the work too, so it makes it easier. But also to be said, like, it makes it a lot easier feeding off of someone's idea. I'm very much a person that can do that a lot easier. Not to say I can't formulate my own, but if I hear something, I hear something. I mean, you saw it.
Yeah.
You literally saw it. So like it was like even making that song, that being able to just hear something, hear the melody of what it was, and try and like just be like, oh, this could be written like this, and then just be able to sit down and do it. That was probably actually the first time I think I was ever able to do it really really close to how I heard it. I've never really been able to do that in the grander scheme of things. Like most of the time, at least, I can't. If I hear something, I can get close to the idea or the concept. It usually is, as long as I get close enough to the concept, I'll accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was like the first time where I actually heard the idea kind of like in full and really, really actually was able to get it the way that I heard it. And then Robbie just hopping in chat one day and asking to sing on it just because he asked what I was working on. Just there's another thing. Another thing is just by chance. A lot of this shit is just by chance and by just how things happen to work. Robbie just happened to be like having a day where he couldn't write anything for anything, and that was the first thing that he heard where he could write something. Ended up doing it hell fast and made something out of it. That song was really weird to write.
Which
really
one,
weird.
our collaboration or
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I was like blown away of the angle that you went to, and you stick to it, and then I was even more blown away on adding on Robbie's vocals in it. I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I thought I had it I thought I had it here, and you took it and you just like, nah, bro, I can make it banging over here, bro. And now it's there. Now I'm like, fuck me, which is I don't know. It's a done. I have to say, it's a done what you have, because not many people do that. Not many can do that or achieve stuff like that. Like, it's only the few people that I can vouch, that I can say is like, I think they can do something like that with what you did. But it's like that, And the fitness is what it's wild is that you took you heard the idea, and then you just like flip it around and you just recreated the whole project with that same idea, that same concept, which is why I was just like, holy shit, go with it. Just do whatever makes you feel right. Like, fuck yeah, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that too. Just because I was just because explaining to you from the get-go that I just heard something and I just wanted to try it. And I couldn't really explain it. And it turned out one of the three ways that I thought it was going to turn out, because I didn't end up making the other. I stopped at that one and I just kind of accepted it as what it was instead of trying to make something else out of it. Maybe eventually I will, but it was done as it was. And like, it's like other just weird things about that, like Robbie waking up at 3 a.m. randomly on like Monday morning or something, or Tuesday. I don't remember, Monday or Tuesday morning. He woke up 3 a.m. I was working, and he just sang the other verse. I think it was Monday morning. Sang the other verse and spit it over it. That's when I was able to finish the song around like 5 or 6 a.m. Some shit like that. And it was just another thing that just worked. It's early morning brain for him. He just like woke up, smoked, and just wrote something else, and that was that. Like,
wow,
I don't know.
It's
wild. That's how a lot of it came together.
I don't know. It's so wild, and it's fascinating for me to listen to this process, man, because I always want to know what's inside your head. What are you really thinking when it comes to your creative process when you're doing stuff like that? And it's funny because I saw it earlier today when you and me were in that group chat, and you were listening to Excision's, song, and you were like, I think I can do something about it. I think you could. I was like, holy shit, this guy can actually like make it like that. Like, he feels it, he hears it, and he can rams it out.
Yeah. The first time that I noticed that was watching the Avicii documentary. I watched it years ago, and I went through the whole thing, and it was hella relatable. It was hella relatable in a lot of ways. But then I kind of forgot, because I hadn't seen it in a long time. I kind of forgot what it was and like different points. So when I was going through earlier this year about going through and figuring out the agent stuff, before I made the decision to come back to music and just actually give music the genuine shot, I watched the movie. I rewatched it again back a few months ago with a friend of mine, and we were sitting there and like we had dinner and we were watching it, and she asked me like, what movie do you want to watch? And I was like, I need to watch this. Like, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, there's something in here that like I missed, basically, that I need to see. And so we sat down and we watched it, and then it reminded me that's exactly how he was. Is he anytime, and like a lot of music producers are like that,
Mm,
but not in, there's a very specific way that I started to realize it. And because like, friends of mine will hear something and they'll be like, oh, I could do this or whatever the fuck. But like it's it's different. It's like you hear something and it's drastically different and it doesn't it's not cohesive to anything else that you wrote like the previous time.
mm,
And yet it still sounds like them, but in its own weird way. And then being able to do that, and the second that you hear that, and be particular enough until you hear that, but when you hear it and you go. Being able to do that with dubstep is one thing because it's just a bunch of sounds, but being able to
right.
do that with a melody and different instruments and different styles of synths and stuff is a totally different game altogether. And that's something that I didn't realize it was because, I had people for a long time tell me, like, you can write melodies, like, use that because a lot of us can't. And I didn't realize, like, how important it was. And then, but backtracking to seeing the video again, and I talked to her about it afterwards, and I was just like, like, because she asked me, she's like, did you get it? And I was like, yeah. And like, because I sat there for a minute afterwards and I just didn't know. Like it was too close. Too many things were too identical, and it
Mm,
really kind of scared me. But then I was just kind of like, it makes sense. Like your brain has to work in a certain way, and like
right.
also to be said, like, Avicii didn't work alone. He got to a point where he didn't work alone. He was bouncing ideas off of people, and people were helping him write melodies or like things like that. And like, it's not just one person that makes those songs. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And but understanding that it's not one person that makes those songs, but it's one person's idea, concept, and vision of whatever the hell that melody was that someone came up with
Hmm.
is that song. That's what makes it so unique in its own way. And so that, like, being able to connect on that part really kind of scared me, but that actually helped make the decision to come back to music because I could do that. And no matter what genre it is, it sounds like me.
Yeah.
So I got really lucky with that one. I got really lucky with that one.
So,
I
do you feel that you're much more effective when it comes to making music if somebody just like sends you a whole song and a whole idea, and you say like, oh shit, I can do something about it,
Mhm.
or you're or wait, hold on, let me rephrase the question, hold on. Are you much
Okay.
more effective when somebody sends you a full song and you think that you can actually do it versus do it on your own, come up with your own idea?
It depends on the song. It depends on the song, but it's usually somewhere in between. It's somewhere in between because I can add on and create an idea out of something small.
Hmm.
But usually if someone sends me something that's like a full song,
Hmm.
actually I usually don't get that. Like I never really
Really?
get, yeah, nobody ever really sends me that much of anything. Usually like I get bits and pieces of nothing and then have to recreate something out of it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very rare. Like, I mean, recently in the past like 6 months, it's been a little bit different. Like friends have sent me like, you know, full songs of what they had, and then there's what I did to it afterwards. And like, I usually end up changing out like drums or or a flow or something like
Yeah.
that. Mainly the drums though is what I end up changing out a lot of the time. But like, I'll start there, but it's very rare where that instance will happen where it's like I hear something and I think I can do it, but like make an entire song out of it. Like that's just something that I was able to do since I made the Down Bad remix. Since
Mm.
I made Down Bad and I made Stay, those I made those within the same something like that. I started and finished. Yeah, I started and finished Down Bad in a night. I went to sleep. I think Stay was like the next day or two, something like that. Yeah, so it was within the same week, and those songs were me just recreating it the way that I heard, but they ended up being happy hardcore, and it just was what it was.
That's very interesting that you say that because I I was with the impression that if I ever want to collab with someone, let me work something out. Like let me have like at least a song, like at least a song. Not that it's like fully ready to go, but at least something that like, hey, here's the intro all the way to the end. Here's the outro. Like you want to work something out of it, you can change stuff. Give them
Yeah.
the creative liberty. Just like do whatever you want. Like here's the song, here's the idea. You want to extend it, you want to shorten it, you want to change the drop a little bit, you want to add something on the drops. Like I was with that impression that I just have that song ready to go and have that collaboration. But I never knew that not many people do that. Like
No, at least on my end, I don't know if it's just because it's me.
mm,
I don't know. It's like Mort said the other night when I threw in his stems. I put in 3 cents. I put in a kick and a snare, and like I just put it into my template project file. And he was like, "Why does it already sound better?" And I was
no
like,
way.
I don't know. Like I'm working with your shit that you sent me, dog. Like I don't know. Like it could be the compressor on the chain, the master chain. Oh,
Oh,
like, but like, there's like nothing else. It's not even doing that much. So like, I don't know, but I do get lucky with the fact that like I just make shit sound better a lot of the time. But I have, like I said though, I have to hear it, and it's not often that I hear it. But yeah, like listening to the Excision thing, like this morning, I was just kind of like, I heard something out of one of the songs, and I was just like, this one has, and Robbie pointed out why, and it's because it sounded like rave, and
mm,
it's very similar. The synth is almost identical, and the melody is the same sort of. So it makes sense, and I heard that, and I mean, I love melodic shit. So obviously, me hearing that and then a melodic little fake out into something,
yeah.
I just heard the drop, and I was like, I think it's a cool concept, but like I'll probably take a crack at that later and see if I get anywhere with it. Um, it's just not kind of on my mind at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
fine.
Music hasn't been for the past like week.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't want to say anything in the group chat, but I'll say it anyways. I feel like the song is incomplete. Like, I feel like the song
Yeah,
itself, like you said, it's there, but it's not. Like it's, and I feel like
a
it's
lot of
it's
them
not
feel that way.
it's not very cohesive. It feels like it there was like 3 different ideas, and they just slap all 3 different ideas in there and make it work somehow. That's
Well, not so much. Like it's a complete idea. I don't know. Listening, it was like when I went back and listened to some of the other stuff that he had made before. It just sounds like sonically not there.
yeah.
Other stuff used to be so much louder and like I don't know.
Yeah. It didn't sound
It's a different era.
more of him, you know?
It's a different era and time, and I understand it. So maybe that's what it is. But like, I also just heard the song differently than like the flow that it had. And mainly, what I wanted to do was just take his synth and put it in the flow that I kind of heard it
Right.
as, because it's not really changing much of it, and like change the structure of the song a little bit. But that's all I was gonna do, because like I can't do songs with like the hella long intros anymore. I respect it, like, go ahead,
Right.
do what you want. Like, but like, dude, at the end of the day, like, if I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna try and shorten it up to like a version that I'm gonna play and that it is cohesive to me. And everyone does that. So it's just like, that's just one of those things where I just, that's probably why people make bootlegs and edits and re-edits of other shit. They're just like, I hear something, I want to try it. And, I'll take a crack at it and see where I get. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll figure it out, and I'll probably take
Yeah.
a swing at it when I come back to writing
Of
music.
course. I will say, like I mentioned it earlier, like I did like the second job. Like
Yeah,
I like the that whole Oliver style drop, when it goes very Fat Stevenson, like moving
yeah,
crowdly shit. I like that. I want to learn how to do that.
yeah.
That's something I want to learn how to do that, and I also want to learn how to make my sauce heavy, like 10 Minute and Chime does it. Like,
It's not as hard as you think. It's a lot. It's some distortion and stacking your chords in many octaves, and then
mm,
using like 5 voices and slightly detuning. That's really it. It's not much more than that. Use both oscillators.
Well,
It's, I swear, that's all it is. That's how I did the other song. Yeah, like I'm 90% sure. Here, I'll literally look, man. Where is it? It's right here. Yeah, I'll check right now. Because I'm like 90% sure that's what it was, because that's the only thing that it would be, at least that I can think of.
yeah, that the one song that is stuck in my head was "Sleepless" by Chime, Temenite, and Pixel Terror. The second drop is my favorite. I want to make my drop sauce that heavy. I was just like, as soon as I heard it, it's like, fuck, how can I do it like that? Then when I hear an Oliver style drop, I was like, damn it, how can I do that too as well? I
Here it
don't
is.
like it's much more interested for me. It motivates me to find out, it just makes me feel like this is something different that I would enjoy to do. I listen to it all the time, so it's like, let me go into that direction. Why not,
No, exactly. And yeah, it is exactly what I said. It's like 5 voices and some didn't double it, some OTT and chorus. Yeah.
Layer shit.
EQ it. It's that easy. You just stack them.
We'll take
You literally.
Yeah, I want to take a I want one of these days I want to like pick your brain and see your thought process of how you do that stuff, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, see here, look. I'll literally show it to you. It's not hard. Shout out Kova for making it originally.
Yeah.
Sirens coded, but like, yeah, dude, it's just that. And it's literally just, it's that layer.
But the fitness is like I had it layered down and it still didn't sound as big as it should be.
It's literally just 2 layers of the chords.
Wow, I had like 5 different layers. I feel embarrassed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Lone Wolf podcast exclusive, just for everybody to know. This is our future collaboration that we just did. This guy literally took my song and made it like 10 times better than what it was.
Here, I can run it back. Here.
I just can't believe everything that's happened. Gotta refocus, baby, I gotta tap in. Think I got it now, I just need to listen. Trusting myself is a part that's been missing. Take me far away, I think I've had enough. I can't do no more, I'm finally breaking. You lost all my trust, I'm walking out the door. Don't let it keep taking me away.
Yeah, I'll stop it there.
You know what's funny? I showed this to a few of my producer homies, and they all said the same thing. It's like, what the fuck is this? It's like, this is sick. And I told them like, yo, I sent it over to this guy Mantik, and he just like made it 10 times better. And he's like, yeah, I can see this as a banger. Like I can see this playing in the radio and whatnot. I even show it to
part about that song.
I even show it to my brother. My brother is not even into EDM. He's very hip hop, trap, and reggaeton shit.
Yeah,
he's not nothing into EDM. I show it to him, and he was like, "Holy shit, dude! I can fuck with this, bro." Like, I like the lyrics. I like the beat. The beat itself is catchy. It's bouncy. Yeah, I can fuck with it. I was like, so you made
no. I knew as soon as I finished the song, I did something. I don't know what it's gonna do, but I knew I did something. Like the only time I've really understood that or felt that before. Just kind of like, okay, this is different. The song's different. The concept's different. That's kind of why.
I mean, that's the best way to do it. You know, the fact that you did something different than what you normally do, you know, and you feel great about it. Like you feel like it's a sort of achievement, right?
I mean, that's all I've been doing lately is just take a crack at this. I've never made melodic dubstep before. That was my first attempt at it. And that was like, even still, the drop's totally different than yours, than what you had originally too. So I don't even really know how I came up with that. I wish I could kind of tell you. I have no idea how.
I mean, that's how your creative process works, right? You just like hear something in your head and you just take a crack at it and just like let it go. Just rip it out of it. See where it goes.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I don't know. That was first melodic dubstep tune.
And dude, I mean, congrats, bro. It's my first melodic dubstep too. So it's like it's a big achievement for the both of us, you know? What there you go.
Yeah, I have no idea what's gonna happen with it. I don't even know who will play it, but it's good. So I'm happy.
I mean,
with
at that point, I really do not care who plays it. Like what I care about is the replay value of it. You know, like I can feel like people will. People,
you can listen to that a lot. You can listen to that a lot.
Yeah, like you can definitely put that one of these channels, and you know, people will just listen to it or put it on their playlist or something. You know, like it's definitely something that people will listen to. It's funny because a lot of people don't really realize how music works in certain ways. Like there's music that you fuck with it a lot, but you don't know if you can actually play it, or you don't know anybody who can play it unless it's the artist playing it. And then there's music that you can definitely play this on a live set and whatnot. You know, it's weird how music works sometimes. You know, have you ever had those issues before? Like,
I mean, not really. It's just I've always made music that didn't really fit anyone else's style, so I was the only one to really play most of it. That's just kind of how it's been for a long time. It's just because I've made really melodic, different stuff, and people don't mix melodies. I don't know if it's because they don't know how, or if it's just because they don't like them. Because so the thing is, like the music that I've made, like everybody that I work with, even still today, they say like it's just gotten better and it hasn't really changed much. Like just the concept is still the same, at least. So, but at the end of the day, I guess it is. It's like the decision. Part of that decision to come back to music was if it was going to make me happy or not. And ultimately, like what I've gone through the past few months has been really fucked up, but it just like mentally and whatnot. But at the same time, the stuff that I made kind of showed me that I can still do it, which is cool. And being able to just knock out stuff in a day or an hour, few hours here or there, just because I can. You know, it's something me and Danny joke about all the time, because there's a lot of people that can't do that, but we're the kids that can if we just really just want to.
Right.
Like whether or not it's really kind of there, like we could force something out that will make us creative enough to continue on to do it if we really, really want to. I just don't like doing it. Danny's just a machine, but like, it's just funny because a lot of it's hard to do. It is very, very hard to do. It's hard to speed run songs. It's hard to like speed run a concept, different genres and stuff. I watched Eliminate do it on YouTube. My friend Jesse showed it to me 2 days ago. I went by her house, like we had dinner and shit, and like we were sitting there watching different stuff. And she was like, "Have you ever seen Eliminate's YouTube before?" I was like, "No." She showed me like a bunch of his videos. A, they're hella funny, and B, it was like she showed me one where like he speed ran like 3 different genres and like tried to do it in 30 minutes. And I was like, see, like this is what we do in Discord. Like when we have these like producer challenges, it's what can we come up with in 30 minutes doing like X, Y, and Z. And it's just funny because then you hear him do like Big Room House and you hear him do like Hyper Pop and like some other remix and shit. I think he did Festival Trap as one of them. And but the thing was, they all turned out hella good. And I was just like, and I looked at her, I was like, this is what happens when you have a bass kid make other genres. It's not hard for us at all, because it's a lot easier than the shit that we normally make. And like, even still going through the project, going through our project file, that project file is like 200 channels deep with so many things that I had to turn on and off and like go through and try and figure out what to use. At the end of the day, there's probably like 120 of them being used, or 110 like total from all the shit I added to it. But like, you know, there is a lot of stuff I had to sit and like sift through and like redo. I'm surprised the mixdown came out as good as it did.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
that's
tight.
that's for sure the best mixdown I've ever gotten.
Now that you like got yourself into your first melodic dubstep, do you see yourself making more some of this stuff, or do you see yourself, making whatever actually goes with what you feel?
I mean, it's still gonna be whatever I feel, but now I understand the concept of how to make that. So like I made it took me 8 hours to make Down Bad, 8.5 or 9, something like that. I think it took me 4 or 5 hours to make the first concept of Stay. Like the party rock bootleg thing took
Yeah.
me 10, then Wannabe took me 3. What else? Big Yoshi took like an hour.
Yeah.
Dion's fucking favorite song. He's the one that's telling me, he's like, you need to put that out just to put it out so I can like laugh at it. I was like, all right, like we'll figure out a way. I'll put it on Spotify and shit. Like that's a song that's just gonna be put up for free. I'll put it on Spotify. I'll put it on iTunes and Beatport and shit. If people want to buy it, they can, but it'll be free.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't expect music to pay me.
Yeah, that's something that a long time ago is like I learned. It's like, this is not how the music is not supposed to be a place that you make money out of it, unless you're one of these, producers, hip hop producers and whatnot that they pay you 100 G's for. Is like that's a different whole story. That's a whole bargain.
No, but see, like
EDM artists is like it's a different concept. It's what I mentioned you what I said earlier today is that we as EDM artists, it's funny that the only source of income that we really see is through touring and merching. That's the only way. That's the only way for us to make a living.
Yeah,
music itself is
no.
it's only plays. It's like, hey, look how popular you are, and I found that out by Careless Castle, who's Lane. He used to private tutor me. I'm doing some tutoring sessions of me try to learn more how to sound design and whatnot. And he tells me all these stories. It's like, I'm a Lyft driver. I do this. I gotta do ghost produce for this and that. I'm like, at that time I didn't know, but at that time I was like, what?
Yeah,
dude, like you release music on Never Say Die. Like you got like 10,000 followers. Like you're there. And he's like, nah, man, I'm not there. That's just there for popularity, fan base, but I'm not making a money. My money's from Lyft and doing this and that. And if I ever get a chance to play at a gig, I get the chance, but like I don't get that played out often.
It's the social media thing. It's the interaction thing. It's how bad people want to see you. It's can you sell tickets? And having the releases is great and all, but at the end of the day, it comes down to that and like how deep your following is and why they follow you and stuff. And like you can make a living off of a dedicated following if there's anything that fucking Tengrass has taught me. It's like you can make a living off of 1,000 like dedicated followers easily. It's not that hard, and it just depends on how you go about it and what your business platform is. But like, you need like those 1,000 dedicated fans. But the thing is, like, if you have those 1,000 dedicated fans, your interaction is going to be enough online to where you'll sell pretty much everywhere. And like that's kind of the flip side of how that works too. As long as that interaction is actually there, the plays are actually there and they're valid. Like that's just what happens. So, but shit has to pop off to some, like, in order for it to make sense and for you to start, something has to pop. And like, it's like Nappy posted out on Twitter a few weeks ago, like, a bunch of people blow up off of a bootleg or whatever the fuck that they end up making. It's how it works sometimes. And like, that was when I had that conversation with him about like, where's all the remixes, like the DJ tools, like the stuff that people used to make, like, where are those things? Like, they don't exist anymore. And it's about making those again too. And that's why I made Spice Girls. Like, I had no valid reason to do that whatsoever.
Right.
Like, but I did it anyway. And like, one of my like best friends came by yesterday because his snowboard showed up here. And I showed him Party Rock, and he was like, thought I had the actual song. or like I used the actual song, and I was like, no, dude, I remade this shit. And then he looked over at me, he's like, oh wait, what? And I showed him, and he's like, Jesus. Like, yeah, it took me 30 minutes. Me 30 minutes of sitting there, and then I just knocked that shit out, and it was really funny. Like, I was sick. But yeah, like those tunes were fun to make, and those are just, dumb DJ tools. I don't know who would play them. I don't know anybody that will, but like I made them just for the fuck of it. And I'll go back and share them around with people, but nobody plays house. None of my homies play house. So
Oh, it's funny. I know a lot of people, a lot of homies play house, man. On my end.
there you go. Cool.
Hey, if you don't mind, I'll send it to those guys. If they fuck with it, they'll play it. They'll fucking
Yeah.
play it.
Let me give you the good files. You can go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll definitely show it to these guys. Well, I mean, now that you mentioned about the whole house thing, like I'm noticing like I don't know if it's a trend. I won't call it as a trend, but I'm noticing that a lot of bass artists are playing house sets as well.
They're trying to step out, but the thing is, they have to literally label it as that.
Like as their side project.
No, like even Subdoc is playing a DMB set at Forbidden Kingdom.
Say what?
Yeah. See, like people but they have to put that as that. And that's kind of bullshit that you have to put that as that. Like, no, dude, like let the people play what the fuck that they want to play.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if it's drum and bass or whatever the fuck? Like, that's the main reason I came back to music was like, I remember, talking with my friend, and we were just like, it's like, I still have something to say. It's pretty much where it starts. And like, where that concept came from is I used to play everything. I used to mix everything, and somewhere along the way that got lost. But that was what made me good and unique and sound different. And because I did shit no one would want to do, and no one would like make it in like a different way. So, being different is what actually gets you places.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sad truth about it. But like, it's just accepting that you're different. Took me a while to do that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. That people see that as a like a sort of a taboo. It's like, oh, I thought you were into bass. Like, why you switch it to house or vice versa? Like, oh, what are you doing? Switch it to side mid tempo. What is this? It's like, well, let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. I mean, if you're a fan, if you're a fan of this artist and they decided to do a fucking house out of nowhere, out of left field, what's wrong with that?
Just run with it. Yeah. Like that. Well, I had a conversation with Hami months ago, when I was going through this too. And I was at his pad, and I was like, yo, like, he was like, the benefit of you is that you never really stuck to one genre. And like, so I don't have to put anything. And he was like, and that was part of the joy about, because like when I didn't know who he was. He was like, that was the joy about seeing you. Like, when I didn't know who you were, it's just like, what is he gonna play? Like, what's it gonna be this time? It's gonna be different. I already know that, and it's gonna be different than anyone else on the lineup. Just like, what's he gonna do? And the only time I played full dubstep sets really were back-to-backs that I did with friends of mine. But even then, that depended on the person that I went back-to-back with, because I go back-to-back with Disconnect. Mike learned on my decks. So like, and I taught him, so he knows how to spin everything because that's what I knew.
Right.
And like, that's what I know. So he, if I want to go do something random, I'll go do something random, and he'll be right there to keep up. And that's one of the only people that can actually do that I know have like the actual capabilities, especially if he doesn't play his own music. Mike can go in. So like, being able to do that with certain people is hella dope. But that was always the joy of playing with me too. It's like Wednesday says, like, I'm one of her favorite people to go back to back with, because it's just like, I play the most random shit. I play the most random shit that doesn't make sense, but I make it make sense. So I guess that's kind of the way I'm going to go about music now, is just
That's good.
make it make sense.
That's good, man. I mean, and that puts your image out there from the start. It's like, yo, this is who I am. Like, I like making all sorts of music. I like making house. I like making bass house. I like making dubstep. I like making melodic stuff. You're gonna hear that in my sets. Deal with it. That's how it is, and that's how you get. That's how you get your fan base. because that's what your fan base is gonna expect from you. It's like, okay, when I go to a Mantik show, I'm gonna expect this. This is what I'm gonna expect, and this is what I'm gonna go for. And people are gonna fuck with it, man. Especially when people feel like it's like something different than what they're usually they're used to listen to. It's either this or this. I'm going this. Oh my god, I got everything, all the above, satisfaction guaranteed. That gravitates a lot to people. Is the fact that I'm listening to something different, and this is very groovy. This is very good. This is very whatever the feeling.
Yeah, I've always had the way of being able to make things do that. I can tell a story through a set. It's not hard for me to do anymore because I've been doing it for so fucking long that's just the way that I put stuff together. And like it makes it so much more fun. Like, yeah, I plan out my entire set, but like to pull off a lot of the shit that I do, and to make it and to do it as fast as I do, you need to know what you're doing and like what you're going into in order to make it make sense. And it's crazy, but I'm just still the DJ nerd. I'm very much like Subtronics. So.
And you always been a DJ for the longest time, like, or you were a producer first?
No, DJ first.
How long have you been DJing?
22, 23 years. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I started on vinyl when I was like 6 years old.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Dude, you got 10 years ahead of me. I've been doing it for 15, 17 years.
Yeah. I got more years on it than a lot of people I know, and it's really funny because they don't expect that out of me.
What the fuck? God damn.
Yeah, it's like if you were to give me like a week in vinyl decks, I can get back to beat juggling and scratching and everything else that I used to do when I was like 14.
Damn, man.
No, like 17.
What? You know what's messed up? I've never learned how to do vinyls, bro. That was like the one thing I never learned. I only learned through the CD changers.
Oh yeah, no, vinyls teach you a lot about inconsistency. So you hear it a lot more because no vinyls are motors. Even if it's a direct motor and not a belt driven motor, it's still a motor, and no two motors spin exactly the same. Which is why if you think about it, if you watch Andy C or A-Track or Craze or anyone, they'll touch the middle little metal needle that holds the vinyl, they'll push it or they'll spin it. And that's how to adjust it instead of and like that's how you do minor ones and like listen to stuff by ear and shit like that. Like I don't know. It's I was using Technique 1200s when I was 5 and I didn't know what the fuck they were.
Wow,
it's kind of nuts to think about it now. But like my cousin was going to raves and all that shit when he was that age, and he was he's the one that introduced me to scratching and like battle DJs and stuff like that, and like that's what I wanted to do when I was like 6 years old, and I was so like immersed in it for so long, and then I just it fell out because then I stopped seeing my cousin for a few years. Not for any real reason. He was just every time that I went to my grandparents' house, he was like either working or busy or something, so I wasn't able to go into his apartment. He was like, I used to play his Xbox all the time too when I would go over there. But so like I stuck with snowboarding and did that forever, and then along the point in high school, I kind of came back to it, and I didn't remember because it was all on a computer. It was entirely different. So nothing registered from before. Like, you go from using vinyls and sleeves on motors, using a mixer that's all just in front of you, to a computer program that you load music into. And then you got to figure out what everything is. Like, it's night and day different. So, going to a computer program, pretty much what happened was like my sophomore year in high school, one of my teachers came to me, and it was a really good teacher, actually. He was a homie. He basically like would get me out of class, put me on field trips, like do a bunch of shit. I would help him out a lot. And one day he came to me and he was like, "Hey, like, will you play music at lunch?" This was in like 2008, mind you, 2007, some shit like that. I want to say 2007. No, 2000. Yeah, like late 2007. And I remember like I was like, I don't really want to do this. And he was like, you'll get out of your fourth period early by like 30 minutes. And then you'll have me for fifth period starting next semester. And then next year for this, and this. And I was like, all right, fine. I get out of class early, sure. And then I just started playing music at lunch every day, every single day. And it started with like a bunch of iPods, just playing what the fuck we wanted to get it. It was to using his laptop to go through music, to the school ended up giving me a laptop for while I was there. They gave me a MacBook Pro. It was sick. And I use that to like play music at school events and every day at lunch, download new music. I torrented so much shit on that on that computer.
Shit.
It was great. I remember giving it back and like we had to like wipe everything out of it, but I don't think I did. I think I just gave it to the next kid that was taking my position. I taught him how to use it, and then I was just like, "Here you go, bro." Like, it was dope. It was really sick because like I had a laptop at school, like I could use it. I was watching fucking Rugrats, Rocket Power and shit during English class.
That's what's up.
17, it was in 16, it was sick. But they like that's how it happened. And I made so much money for that school. Like I had dances every Friday in a gym. We charged like 50 cents or something, but I ended up making like thousands of dollars for that school and bought like all new sound equipment for us and like did that like twice. It was dope though. It like, it gave me freedom and it ended up, being able to teach me just how to use the program. But the problem was I never used a controller or anything. So I memorized all my music. And like, I mean, it's like when, Black Jesus was in chat earlier and we were talking about it. And it's, know your music. A lot of these people DJ and they don't know the music they're playing. They don't know these songs. I'm like, how the fuck do you not know what these songs are? Like,
that's kind of weird for me too. It's like fast, like you're playing the song. How the you physically put in the USB.
Yeah, like it depends on like how much shit you put on there and how much shit you put on your computer and whatnot. But like most people's USBs are very small, so like it makes sense. And you should have everything that if you're playing it, you should know it. And like, a lot of people don't. And it comes with knowledge of music and memorization of the songs that you're playing to know where you are in every song. Like out of every song I play, and like probably 10 or 15 times as many as that I don't. You could drop me at any point in the song, give me 3 seconds, and I can pretty much tell you where you are and like what chorus number, what break number. Even some of the songs I can tell you in seconds where you're at. Like it's just how it works. I don't know. My brain's wired very different when it comes to that stuff, though. I can memorize music in my sleep, literally, if I just play it while I'm asleep. So
it was very interesting that you were talking about the whole DJ concept when you were starting out back in your school days. Now there was a question that I really wanted to ask you because did you grow up in LA, by the way, in California?
Yeah, it was like split between here and Mammoth, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like resident here, yeah.
Okay. So have you ever had a chance to see a DJ AM set?
No, I was too young.
Ah, damn. But you knew about him.
No, so the concept that I took towards music or towards DJing at first when I first started back at it was actually because of him. Okay. AM there was an EDC movie, the first one from 2010. And I was 17 when 2010 happened. I could have gone, but my parents didn't. My parents were freaking out at that point about that stuff. So I was still like not really allowed to do much at 17. Like I just snowboarded and that was it. I didn't even go. Like, dude, I was missing so many of my friends' parties, going back and forth between riding and stuff. And ultimately it is what I wanted to do, but like, I didn't get the high school experience that like most people did. Like I had one homie pad that I stayed at, and that was really it. Like 2, but that was it. Like I didn't stay anywhere else at anyone else's house really. Like, so it wasn't like I had much to do, and I didn't take friends with me anywhere. So like, but what's it called? I saw the video though, and it was after AM had passed. That's when I think that's when the movie came out, because AM passed in 2010.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the last sets that he did, and will.i.am was talking about when they were in the trailer with him, and he pointed out a tune that he was gonna play, and like nobody thought it would work, and he basically just like told them all like, I'm gonna put this in and watch it work. And I think will.i.am said like, sure enough, he did it. And like when it happened, he just looked at all of us, and I was just like, because everyone was dumbfounded at that point. And when you get everybody to scream about something or go nuts over something that most of your friends tell you not to do, or like that it won't work. It's such a gratifying feeling, and it's so different. And but what's funny is that's what I was built on in like the creativity wise. Like I've had Sweet Tooth deadass slap me in the middle of a set because something worked. Like when we were younger, this was back in like 2015 or something like that, 2016. Literally ran up to me on stage, threw the fader down, and just slapped me, and then threw it back up. And I was just like, "All right, I'll take it." I said it would work. Like, and like it did. So like, and that, but that's been, I've had so many experiences like that where like I told people I was like, I'm gonna do this into this, and they were just like, watch it work. Never failed every single time. And so like that's a lot of where, so like I never got to see AM, but like I respect the man like wholeheartedly, and I wish I could have seen him. Like, you know, I mean, I've seen like, you know, the fucking different like A-track competitions and like, you know, AM freestyles and shit like that, but like I didn't get to see him. No. That's like probably the only person I wish I could have seen that I didn't see.
I wish I could have seen AM too. That's a whole fucking legend.
I was just a little too young, but it is what it is.
It happens, man. Hey, I missed out my once in a lifetime opportunity to see Linkin Park before Chester Bennington passed away. I missed that opportunity, and I regret it all day, every day.
That's fair. My mom was the bassist dad's banker.
Bassist dad.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
The bald guy?
I don't remember. Because like I only remember Chester, but like I can look it up. But
I only know Chester and Mike Shinoda.
Yeah, I was like, me too. And I only know Mike because I still listen to his hip hop on a regular basis.
His hip hop releases are fire.
No, so many people don't know that Mike Shinoda is from Linkin Park, and I tell people all the time, and they're just like, "What?" Like, yeah, like Linkin Park, like they started here in Agora Hills, like 10 minutes or 20 minutes from me.
Yo,
I think it was it Brad? Was it Brad Delson? Hold on.
There's always gotta be a Brad in somewhere.
One of the founding members. Yeah. So Brad. It was Brad's dad, I'm pretty sure. And so I actually have a copy somewhere in this house of Reanimation that they burned.
What?
Yeah. It was like written down shit too. No one signed it or anything, but like it came in the Reanimation like cover.
Yeah.
Like one of the first ones that they had, they literally burned a CD, wrote it down, put it in the case, and like gave it to me. Or gave it to my mom to give it to me.
Sick.
It's somewhere in here. Not in this room, in the other room. Linkin Park is a big influence on, I mean, just a whole generation of kids. So but like I didn't realize, it took me a long time before I realized that Mike Shinoda was who he was. Until I actually decided to listen to the lyrics of like from the whole Rising Tide album, and then I was like, oh yeah, this like makes a lot of sense. And I looked it up, and then I figured out like Mike had like this whole stack of kids like working under him and shit like that. But like it was nuts. Mike's such a creative fucking person. I mad respect to that dude. Crazy mad respect to that dude.
Mad respect to him. Hopefully one day I'll get him over to the podcast, you know?
Yeah, I would do many things just to like pick his brain.
Oh, bro, just pick his brain. I want to spend the entire day with him. I just want to see, like, dude, you're a god. Like, I want to see what you do every day.
He's a keyboardist. He's so good. It's really
kind of he's just good at everything. Like everything he does is just amazing. Like he has such a great talent out of it, man. I remember there was this Twitch convention and he was invited. He was one of the Twitch streamers, and there's this chick that she was doing interviews, and Mike just popped out to the interview, and she was just like what the fuck, who is this guy? And she's like got along with it, and she's like back and forth and just talking, and she was like, all right, dude, like what the fuck are you, like who are you here? And it's like, oh, you know, I play on I'm a Mike Shinoda, I play in a band called Linkin Park. And she was like, oh I am so sorry. Oh my god, I bow down to you. oh, I didn't realize you are a
You.
legend. She was just going dancing and making herself feel like shit. Like she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you are. I didn't mean to be obnoxious. He was like, nah, we're good. Like you didn't know who I was. You know, I was just being friendly here. It's like, no, I'm not gonna stop dancing. This is a tribute to you. I'm sorry. It's so hilarious because like, wow, like I knew from the get go who Mike Shino is because I grew up listening to him since the underground piece and from Meteora. I mean, not Meteora.
Yeah.
Hybrid Theory. That was my first album, and I knew who he was all the way through. So for someone like her who knew Linkin Park but didn't know the members, it's like okay, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but damn, like if you like a band, at least know who the members or how they look alike.
Depends on how much you like the band and stuff like that. Oh, you also got to remember Mike was the pianist. No one gives a shit about the fucking keyboardist.
Well, he was also the second lead singer or the backup singer. I don't know how would you categorize him because Jester was the lead singer. He was the main front.
But that's why he wasn't part of the forefront and he wasn't in the front of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So like you didn't really see Mike. Like so like dude, I still didn't even really know what Mike Shinoda looked like.
I mean,
like
in the end,
I listen to Fool's music all the time though. Like just mad respect to the dude. But yeah, like I get it like to a certain extent. It's like know who's in what. But at the same time, that also makes it better. I think that also makes it better. Is like you don't have to know who they are to like or what they look like or anything else. You know what rappers look like and shit like that. And people always want to know and they're so curious. But like, I don't know. Something about it, it could just be the dude next to me and I have no idea. I'm just like, oh cool. Like, cause you never know who actually comes in and out and shit like that. It's pretty dope.
I feel like that's how I look at life. That's how I feel like I am right now. It's like if anybody knows me, it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm flattered every time somebody out of the blue comes out and say, "Hey, hold on, are you Wolfson?" I'm like, "Holy shit, bro, Wolfson! I love your song from this, and that." And it's like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm just a very private person. It's like when I'm in the podcast, that's a different story. But I'm a very private person. Like I really do not share much details about my life, or I don't even post anything about my life unless it's like a significant achievement. Like, hey, my first car in 10 years. You know, like I bought it with my own money.
Yeah.
Or I got engaged with my fiance. Stuff like that is when I post something significant. But other than that, like what I'm doing every fucking weekend or every other day is like, nah, but like just listen to my podcast. That's all I ask for you guys. I don't know.
Cool.
That's how I feel. Like I really do not care about the fame, how many people really seek so hard about it.
I don't understand why it's such a big thing, but everybody I know that is succeeding doesn't really give a shit. That much I do know. And I have figured out. Like they don't, it's like, something as dumb as like when we were checking into the hotel for Countdown, it was me, Dion and his girlfriend, and like we're waiting to get in and like the people in front of us like turn around and see like, and Dion's like got a mask on and a beanie, but he still stands out because he's a very colorful human being. And like people were like tapping their friends, like all this other shit, and me and Dion are standing there being idiots, like just waiting to go check into the hotel. Like it's weird, but like he just doesn't care, and he's like down to meet people and take photos with them, and like he just doesn't give a shit about fame. And most of my friends that are like that just don't care. They just want to do what they do and like have fun doing it. And it's not much more to ask for at the end of the day. Like if that's what you're capable of doing, then like that's what you're capable of doing and you're able to make something out of it. Like, dude, that fucking works. That's sick.
Yeah. Like I will never understand why people want to be so fake and so cloud chasing. Why is it so important?
Them somewhere. They think it gets them somewhere, but it's the easiest thing to be able to tell because of based off of just how you treat people.
Yes.
And like, how they're going to be, if they're going to be about you or not, and if they're like real to you or not. And like, those relationships, depending on like who it is and stuff, those relationships go a long way. And it's just how it maintains over time. And if you're just a real person, you don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to think about anything that you did or that you said, and like just go along forward with whatever happens. And I think that's the problem. Like a lot of people blame it on like shit happening when they're drunk or some shit. It's like, no, like this is what's on your mind. Like,
Yeah,
out now.
I have, I am with you on that. I tell people it's like, yo, when someone is drunk, it's when they show their full themselves, their real,
Yeah.
their true self. Because when you're drunk, that's where you don't hide yourself anymore.
It's either that or they're the same person. And that's the thing is like if they're the same person, then you know that they're just that person.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. So when you're drunk and you act out differently, and you're like, how the I never seen him act like this. Why will he act like this? That's because he's probably hiding from you of his real. Anyone else who acts differently, that's that's why. But anyone who acts the same way, that's them through and through, and no matter what. I'm
yeah,
just
no, that's like another thing is like being able to tell that the person's actually like them, like a very real person is like once you do all that, like if you see people in all sorts of different mindsets like that and
Yeah.
shit, like start to be able to tell like who's still themselves and who isn't and like where and why and whatnot. And like, I don't know, I started to notice that because like even earlier this year, I microdosed shrooms for on a couple snowboard trips. The friend of mine, we were just like up there, and it was like something that we started to do back in like February. So like trips that we went on, we would just go get like a small amount and start using it, and it was cool because it also made me understand that that was just like I'm still just myself. Like
yeah.
I was also around someone that could be myself around, but at the same time, like I'm different, but I'm not. I'm just a lot more quiet around other people. And like I'm just a lot more like not in my head, but I guess observant. And I'm really high most of the time. So like people never really think anything's wrong or anything. So like I'm a really hard person to read 90% of the time. It's interesting. It's very interesting because like I love people. I love watching people try and figure it out. Cause like most of the time my brain's just blank. Nothing's really like in here. It's just kind of like got a monkey that's just like clapping.
Funny way to explain it. Yeah.